As you surf the internet and look at sites on the right, you will come across something called the Frankfort School. It's something you will soon learn is infamous on the right for the destruction it has caused across the West. So what is the Frankfort School? In 1923, at the University of Frankfurt in Germany, the Institute for Social Research was formed, although it was mostly known as the Frankfurt School. It was set up by a private fund to study Marxism and to make such research more respectable within universities. Its big idea was called critical theory, which basically said that there is much to criticise in society, and here was a theory for doing so. Now, most of the people who wrote for the Institute for Social Research were communists, and most of them were Jews. Although they were not the only writers, they were the majority. So as the Nazis became more powerful within Germany, the Institute decided to put in place a plan to move both the school and its money if the Nazis should come to power. In 1933, they did come to power, and the Institute moved first to Geneva in Switzerland, and then in 1934 to New York, where they remained until moving back to Germany in 1951. Ironically, going into exile was the making of the school. Here were real-life European intellectuals who had to flee the Nazis because of their political, philosophical and religious beliefs. It gave them a sense of glamour. It also meant that they began publishing in English, which increased their readership and influence greatly. The main criticism of the Frankfurt School is that it used this influence to spread communist ideas and to undermine the West, that much of the upheaval of the 1960s was because the left began to follow the ideas of the Frankfurt School. While it's true that their ideas were hostile to the West and that they did serve to influence the new left of the 1960s, it has a major problem. The upheaval of the 1960s didn't have their origin in the 1960s. The 1960s was simply the time when all the festering sores that covered liberalism could no longer be covered up. The truth is that the 1960s were a liberal revolution against itself. Sure, it had communist and other influences without any question, but the biggest problem was liberalism and its internal contradictions. Everything political and social that came to symbolise the 1960s existed 50 or even 100 years before that time. Everything that has come after is the logical extension of liberalism, not of communism. Liberalism has since the 1950s accepted the communist idea of class warfare, and the Frankfurt School is one of many to influence that outcome. I'm not saying it has had no influence at all, or that it did not have bad influences. What I am saying is it is wrong to think that the world we live in today can be laid at the feet of the Frankfurt School. Nothing is quite that simple. To understand our modern world, we must study liberalism and its history, because liberalism is the problem.